Welcome back, everybody, to another session here with Niclas Sandström, co-founder of Hilbert Group. Today, or in this section, we're going to talk about one of the important legs for Hilbert Group, Coin360. So let's start with what is Coin360?
Coin360 is a data and analytics platform which Hilbert Group is the majority owner of. We own 60%. The minority owner is actually the owner of Cointelegraph, CT.com, Quantum Brains, Bquant, and so on. So a fairly big player in crypto space. We bought his website in 2021, and it's like beginning of this year that we really ramped up the development, and we're gonna launch a complete revamped website in 1 week's time.
Very interesting. And is this, how to interpret it? Is it like the Bloomberg for crypto? So how do we envision the website?
It's not at the moment, but we would like it to become at least part of Bloomberg for crypto, where we use a lot of tools on the asset management side in our trading, in the algo trading and so on, where we package those tools and enable them for, everything from retail to institutional on Coin360.
Yeah, so so it's much more than information. It's also the tools needed or used at least to execute trades and analyze also.
Analyze trades, analyze portfolios, test your trading ideas, like in backtesting. So some of this will then be incorporated in it's not there right now, but will be in the new version and so on. So for example, understanding leverage. If I had this amount of leverage on with this portfolio, what would my drawdown have looked like? What would be the return of this portfolio over this horizon of time? And things like that. Very basic tools which we think is indispensable, but not really exist on any comparable website right now.
Yeah, ready to go. You can program everything yourself, but
that's very cumbersome. But here we want to provide it like ready and go. And customizable dashboards, for example, where you can just pull in widgets. So every tool is in a widget and you can customize. So when you go and log into Coin360, you have your setup that you like with the tools that you like.
Okay.
That's one thing. Another big thing that's coming is that we will have community-built content, community-moderated content. So we will provide a lot of tools, but the community also, you have very good analysts and people who are very capable of building tools, and they will be able to build their own tools and provide for others and get rewarded for it. People will be rewarded for reviewing tools or moderating tools as well. So much higher degree of user-generated content as well.
Right. So a platform for really the crypto trader and investor to have the tools needed to be in the space, but also community-driven for further development.
Yes. Parallel with us, we're gonna issue new tools continuously. It's a continuous process, but the community will also participate.
But how do you feel about giving away the tools that you use in your own funds? Because the other leg of Hilbert Group are the asset management.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes. We don't see it like that. A lot of the proprietary, let's say, algos, we're not gonna reveal that code. But I think like the fundamental that doesn't really exist anywhere. If you go to CoinMarketCap, CoinGecko, or whatever, like how do you analyze leverage? A lot of people are involved, even retail leverage on various websites. Do they really understand leverage, or what would happen that you actually can look at? Okay, how would this portfolio, how would it behave, or how did it behave in the past X months? It's just simple bread and butter tools that everyone should have, which we don't think is revealing, too much about our own trading, because there's so much more to it. Exactly the way you execute, and so we see it more as bringing up the level, taking the next step and providing a range of tools that everyone should have, including retail.
Yeah. Okay. Just what comes to mind first of all here, just in this day that we talked about, just prior to recording here, we talked about where's Bitcoin trading at now?
Yeah.
Well, it was up to 103 yesterday. It broke above 100K.
Yeah.
But it was down to 92 or something was the low kick, and going back up again to 98 or something. And it's not really the price that's interesting, but the price movement. If you leverage in these movements, it's very easy to be
wiped out.
Wiped out. So really, or to say it the other way, very hard to trade with leverage. So tools like that comes in very handy to analyze the risk, really.
Yes. Yeah. And get a firmer grasp for understanding how dangerous it is, because people have short-term memory. So you sit here and let's say the market is more or less sideways, which has been the case on many. In the past 2 months, not much happening. I can run 10x or 20x, but if you look at a wider horizon, you see you bust a large number of times, and maybe then you will think twice or before putting on and being more conservative in type.
Yeah. And when you develop these tools, who did you have in mind?
It's actually a range. So if we start from what we're doing in asset management, that's sort of institutional level, but it's a lot of interesting and simplified things that you can use to retail. So we're catering to the full range, like newbies retail, to more professional private investors, to institutions. So we're going to have, like, in terms of the subscription layer, we're going to have 3 tiers. So it's basically basic, pro, and institutional, something like that. Yes.
Will it be different what tools they have access to? Or?
Yes. So, and it's going to be a price differentiation. We haven't yet decided, but there's going to be, so, cheapest and then intermediary and then the most expensive, where you get access to the full range of tools and so on.
How big is Coin360 today?
It's fairly big as a crypto platform, right? Last month we had like 7 million visits, but it's heavily correlated with the crypto market. When there's a bull market, naturally there's many more visitors than when it's a bear market. But we also now have increased the quality of the content, right? Compared to 1 year ago is much higher. So we're driving more traffic. So it's been swinging around there. So it's getting up to where, like, we're getting some of the best numbers now. We've been there before in the last bull market, but the difference now is that we have much more high quality content, and that we're gonna really ramp that up further in 2025. More interesting tools, even better content to drive even more traffic. So the idea is that we'll get more an even revenue stream by introducing the subscription layer. Before, up to this point, it's all been funded by advertising, basically.
And in terms of revenues, what do you expect? What is the status today, and what's to expect for the future?
We bought this in the, let's say, mid 2021. It's been cash flow neutral if you look Coin360. If we disregard the past year, and the reason I say that is that we've ramped it up, so we've actually been funding a lot of development, but intrinsically it's been cash, so it's been sort of self-sustaining. But the aim for next year is gross revenues around 10 million. We talked about it in the last quarterly report, so I can say that. And it's just based on our calculus on where we see the number of visits or the active user base, and how much we think we can convert of that to paying subscribers, and in combination with increased revenue from advertising, which we're seeing now. So it's a combination of that that makes us set that target, basically. So $10 million growth in revenue in 2025.
$10 million on a website as a revenue sounds to be quite impressive.
It's ambitious. It's a target, but we have various metrics, and we are looking at what we should have as a conversion rate and so on. And it remains to be proven, but we think it's realistic, and we're sort of have been ramping up the activities on the website. We think it's very scalable. We don't need to hire much more people now because we have the right systems in place to even push out more content, and we have built prototypes for a lot of tools that continuously is going to be rolled out. So we think we can get there.
Very, very impressive. But and then how does the margin look like on a business like that?
Well, it is high, given that if we have some contractors, but the in-house staffing is not that large, so it's more of a fixed cost.
Yeah.
So the more we can basically, it's a high margin type of business in the sense that we can scale, and we have been scaling from here without having a constant, staffing more or less.
Very interesting, very cool. Will it also be able to, since you have all these backtesting tools, you have the tools to preferably find good executions in and out, would it be able to connect your accounts and trade from the platform?
To some extent, we already have some partnerships, like experimental partnerships, but you can connect. It's sort of going to be full Web3 integration. It's already started a bit, but you can connect your wallet. You can, for example, connect your wallet, go on Jupiter Swap through Coin360. We're going to build out more of that. We're also looking to have, let's say, native trading, but that's sort of further in the future, maybe towards the second half of 2025. But yes, and you can also subscribe by connecting your wallet, or you will be able to subscribe by connecting your wallet and so on. So it's the whole, let's say, Web3 kind of setup as well as the traditional, signing up with email and then subscribing to the services.
But does it mean when you say native trading, what does that mean? Does it going in the direction of a brokerage, or what does it mean?
Yeah, exploring, going in the direction of actually offering where we are the trading platform or parts in certain markets and so on. But this is just explorative right now.
Yeah.
But it's something that we've been looking at for the past 6 months or something.
Very interesting. So the users here, the traders, not only have the very unique products to have access to everything, has a community to build on, but could then in the future, not so distant future, if you're talking 25, maybe a year from now or something, be able to trade, execute, do everything from Coin360.
That's right.
Maybe hence the name Coin360. The 360
like
view.
360 functionality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, sounds like you have many rabbits that you will pull out of your hat.
Yeah, it's more.
You have a smile on your face there.
It is. We like it because it's natural from what we're doing in asset management. We don't know any other, let's say, combo of serious asset manager and data analytics. So I think that's good. And it's also nice to have that broader retail focus because asset management is like always accredited investors, but this is catering to retail. And there's lots of cool stuff and lots of tools that we find useful, and it's nice to offer them as well. And we think it's a nice platform. If we look back, and it was tough during 2 years, right? The interest for crypto around the collapse of Terra Luna and all that, it's all correlated. So it was, but now the time is right. We felt like 1 year ago, okay, now it's time. It's recovering. Now we can push it again.
But many people would probably think that, okay, well, maybe there's some conflicts of interest here that hedge fund or hedge funds, a group of hedge funds are offering tools and stuff and not guidance, because it's not the guidance itself, but it's the tools needed, and thus maybe they would think that they leave information behind that are exploited by the hedge funds. What would you answer to those people?
I think it's not
the skeptics, really.
Yeah. It depends how big this grows, right? But in terms of having basic analysis tools that tells you go bust if you're on this leverage, or you would have, or the P&L of this portfolio should be this. where it gets more tricky if you're because then you're actually providing an investment advisory, right, which is a regulated activity. If you tell them, if you have tools that say you should trade this and this and that, it's a more tricky, and you need a proper disclosure. It's not Hilbert Group, this is a subsidiary, and proper disclaimers. But it always gets much more difficult, and you need to be much more transparent what you're doing if you're sort of stepping into what is to be considered as investment advice.
Okay, so you make a clear distinction between it's really no investment advice to be found there. It's tools for data crunching.
Yeah, tools for making better, more informed investment decisions yourself. You have bots. There are trading bots that people subscribe to, and then you really. So if we go down that path, but at the outset, yes, we're just going to provide basic tools where you make better decisions. But even if you were to provide, let's say, trading bots, eventually you have to make sure that it complies with all the regulatory requirements around that and so on.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And then, of course, you're fully regulated as is in EU and everywhere, I guess.
Well, it's the way it is now, since the funds we are running are Cayman funds. It's a very common jurisdiction. 75% of the world's hedge funds, they are sort of domiciled in the Cayman Island because it's a very good framework. It's also the jurisdiction which is totally accepted by the US. It's also close geographically to the US. It's like the Anglo-Saxon setup, but we think it's the best hedge fund framework, and hence 75% of hedge funds are there. But we will eventually move into EU regulation. Right now, it's not necessary because you can invest globally in our funds, and accredited investors typically can invest globally. But we will see as we expand, it's inevitable that we will get licensed investment managers and so on inside the EU. So typically, I mean, it could be Luxembourg is one big jurisdiction, but basically anywhere. But there are some that are better within the EU compared to any.
And many users might find comfort in that you are registered on a stock exchange in Stockholm, and also that's 60% of the Coin360, but the rest of the 40% are also heavy hitter group. With Cointelegraph, was it right?
Yeah, Cointelegraph, CT.com, bQuant, Quantum Brains, Scalable Solutions. So it's like a huge ecosystem. The minority owner is sitting on a huge ecosystem of some of the biggest companies in crypto, and that's been very helpful in terms of media cooperation, in terms of actually sourcing ideas, in terms of what we're planning to do in the future. It's very valuable, and a lot of experience on that side.
Yeah, the distribution part and everything. That's one of the harder stuff.
Yes,
absolutely. Sounds very interesting in the time to come. That what will be. Kind of excited what the what's it called?
The outlook or.
Conversion rate.
The conversion.
But the conversion rate will be.
It's going to be exactly, and it's going to be a bit trial and error. But we have our guesses. But it's all going to be, that's going to be an important KPI for us. How much of this can we convert to paying subscribers?
Thank you, Niclas.
Thank you.